control, with his decision making, using that blink, I think White Rock could be in a bit of trouble.
We'll see about that in just a few seconds. Right now the players are just making sure that they know which version they are playing on, and this is the GSL version of Antigua Shipyard, therefore we can only see cross position, something that was confirmed by JYP a second ago. To the right side of the map we have him in the blue color, the player for Evil Geniuses. He was able to take the first game. JYP is up ahead 1-0 in this best of 3. To the left we have his opponent, we have Grandpa Toss, we have White Ra. Such a nice player, really great guy, and those two pros players are just amazing. We are going to see another great match between them. And I am joined by Mouse Kalaris, once again, who's giving me a little bit of insight into this PvP. After this game, gonna to cast with Mr. Bitter, another best of 3 match. So it will give me a little bit of time to actually get some food.
Stretch your legs.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if we are finally having a game, a best of 3 that takes 3 matches. You know that the second stream today, it's cursed.
Oh,
yeah,
so?
The second stream today, it is cursed, as every single best of 3 that we had ended with 2-0.
Ah, that's not so good. Moon...
Moon could have pulled it off. I have no idea how he lost.
Yeah.
It was just so intense. Moon against Redog. Amazing games, really great. But well, let's focus a little bit more on the game at hand right now with White Ra against JYP.
Indeed you do. It looks like White Ra. Well, both these players are not going to be going for any shenanigans, as we can see. We have plenty going on, as is standard in PvP, just the 7 suppose going down and things like that. But again, you know, coming back to that first game, it was really White Ra's game to win. So if White Ra can kind of follow through on that game and kind of not be affected due to that engagement that did happen, I think, you know, he can still go for his play and, you know, establish an expansion and things like that. I don't think we're going to be seeing some ridiculously early aggression out of White Ra. It's not really in his play, unless he's going to be going for some kind of Warp Prism drops.
The last game, you mentioned it when the Mothership was about to finish with the +3 attack and everything just lined up so perfectly. His build was really phenomenal. But then his unit control in one of the major engagements was a bit off, and JYP, he capitalized on it so much. He just took down the entire army. That Vortex was never able to play a role in the fight, and was obviously a big problem for White Ra. Just a little bit of a sliver on the unit control. It's going to be very interesting to see if White Ra can now just focus on the game, or if he's affected by the loss on the last map, because as you said, it was his game to have.
Both players playing a little bit of a mind game here, not mining from either gas to begin with. Oh, JYP still isn't mining from that second gas, and profusely chrono boosting out this warp gate technology. So again, as I said before, I think we're going to see JYP get a bit aggressive in this second game, especially considering he's one game up against White Ra.
And JYP, he's on 20 harvesters, and so far he doesn't build a second one. He's supply block now, just waiting for his pylon. And the pylon is built, the third pylon is built at the, well, at the third of his opponent. So this is going to be a lot of aggression by JYP. You're perfectly right, Kalaris.
Right, White Ra does have a sentry on the way, so that can
Oh,
help
he
him
spotted
a
it.
lot. And oh, great little bit of scouting there. And battle connection lost, apparently, to me. Oh.
This looks a little bit grim, exactly.
Oh, we're connected again.
Bouncing back into the game is a bit weird, especially considering that we are on exactly the same the same internet connection. Okay.
So yeah, I think White Ra, if he gets a few sentries out, he'll be absolutely fine against this. It depends on whether or not. It looks like we have 3 gate aggression from JYP. This is something that we see quite a lot. It's not particularly all in, but if you actually see your opponent actually going for, you know, something a bit more greedy, you can do phenomenal damage with it.
But White Ra is already in possession of 3 sentries, so he will be able to use a force field. He has to be careful though, but as soon as the first Immortal is out, I feel like there's not a lot that JYP can do to continue this.
Well, what we'll probably end up seeing, Khaldor, is like potentially a pylon on the low ground, and again, he'll realize that he probably can't do too much aggression with this because of the 3 sentries, and then maybe even warp a sentry in here as well to be able to do a little bit of containment whilst he maybe goes for an expansion back home.
Robotics facility with JYP. The Immortal being chrono boosted for White Ra. Let's have another quick look at the harvester count. 27 to 25. JYP started to build probes again, obviously. And he really needs to. There are the Stalkers. Oh, White Ra, he needs to be so careful. He's going to lose the sentries.
Oh, but the Immortal comes out. It will be able to get quite a lot of damage. Nice force fields will go down, but he loses all those essential force fields I mean, Sentry's even in this early stage of the game, but I mean, he's got the Immortals out, so it looks like he's saving up to expand here. Yep.
And expand he does. The Sentry needs to be careful though. 2 have been sniped, and there's another warp in for JYP. Warp Prism being built by Hydra. He wants to get aggressive while expanding. And again, JYP with a bit of pressure. The Immortal, oh, nice unit control, but it's not enough to save the Stalkers. Another Stalker is going to die. No, it's not. He's actually able to save it, but those Zealots are in trouble.
Oh, that was not the best micro from... I mean, obviously he was able to get quite a bit of damage off on those Stalkers, but right now he's in a bit of trouble. He needed that Immortal, and it was a great connection from JYP to be able to get those Zealots focused down on that Immortal, because it's not very fast.
And JYP is getting farther and farther ahead now. His Stalker count is 4 to 3. He also has the Zealots, and that's the only thing that Hydra can do. He is forced to cancel the expansion that he was building, so this is really, really a problem. Hydra trying to be aggressive as well, now building a pylon on the map, and he still has the Warp Prism. If he's able to get into the main base of his opponent, get into a good position, he might be able to do some damage to the economy.
Meanwhile, it looks like we have 30 probes to 31 probes, White Ra with the higher count. And, you know, JYP off the back of this, he's going to expand, but he's down on supply in terms of army count, but he's done quite a bit of damage. It just depends on whether or not this Warp Prism is going to be able to do what it can in the mineral line of JYP.
Be pretty interesting what's going to happen. Now we have another scout for Hydra checking for the pylons of his opponent. There's still the Observer on the field. Hydra is getting ready for an expansion. At the same time, his Warp Prism is trying to get into position. And there's the Nexus. He might be able to force... No, there's already the Warp in. A bunch of Zealots are in position. Hydra is looking, well, a little bit troubled now. JYP, even though he's supply blocked, in a pretty good position, especially because he's already getting Colossi now.
His Stalkers are slightly out of position to be able to deal with this Warp Prism harassment, so maybe 1 or 2 probes will go down, and he will drop in here. Going to be able to focus down a few of these very, very quickly, and a few do end up dying, but he will have to get away as those Stalkers were in close vicinity to be able to deal with this.
He's actually killing a ton right now. He already killed 7 Harvesters, which might not be enough, but at least able to do some damage, and he needs to do that because JYP, just look at him, he has the first Colossi, and Hydra is only halfway done with his robotic spade. JYP, on the other hand, is down to 24 against 35 Harvesters, which gives Hydra a significant lead in regards to his economy, and he's trying to pressure his opponent even more, trying to contain him, which is not going to be an easy task.
Well, not only did Hydra kind of I mean, he did have to do that damage because JYP's Nexus was a little bit earlier. He's going to have that double pro production for just a little bit longer than White Ra since his Nexus is not up just yet. And for now, White Ra can't really do much pressure. He can't apply any pressure because those Colossus are outside. It's going to have to wait, and we're going to have a little bit more of a macro-intense game here.
Expansion for White Ra. It is done. The 38 against 29 Harvesters. White Ra still in a decent lead. And he is trying to catch up with his opponent's tech, and just look at it, we don't have the extended thermal lance upgrade for JYP just yet. For some reason he skipped it so far and is just focusing on his Colossi production, while White Ra started it immediately, and now JYP even trying to get the gravitic drive first instead of the range upgrade.
That is an interesting choice. We don't have any Warp Prisms on the way just yet, but it looks like we may end up having one.
Kind of interested if this is a conscious choice.
Warp Prism on the way, which is, I guess he's going to try and put some pressure on his opponent mineral line, you know, trade blow for blow like we had the Warp Prism harassment from White Ra. But the thing is, I mean, if he skips Thermal Lance for too long, and it comes to the point where White Ra can pressure with a similar amount of Colossus, then the problem for JYP comes in the form of Immortals having exactly the same range as those Colossus, so they become super, super vulnerable in those engagements.
We now have the Warp Prism headed for the main base of JYP. Once again, White Ra is in a little bit of a supply lead. Nope, JYP is not just countering it. Oh, needs to be careful. He lost the Warp Prism on the first map. This time he's able to save it. But did he scout the Colossus drop?
That's what I've been umming and erring about. He's just started Thermal Lance right now, say, well, just yet. But actually, you generally don't need Thermal Lance if you're just going to be dropping straight next to probes and frying them to bits.
And this is what's going to happen. Just look at it. Wow, White Ra, so super fast. He is retreating immediately. Then the other Stalkers are the 8. That would be so horrible if he's going to lose the Warp Prism, but he's not. But he didn't do a lot of damage. He killed 3 probes. That's it.
It wasn't necessarily the best place to actually drop it, and if you actually think about it. If you go down the very left-hand skirt of this map and drop it right behind the mineral line, the probes line up a lot better. Or even if you want to actually attack the gas probes as well. So not the best of engagements, but to kill a few.
He's trying to go in for another drop once again, but the Stalkers are in position, and JYP realizes it immediately, so no problem, no problemo, is not trying to drop into his opponent's Stalkers. That would be a little bit, well, weird.
I can't help but think roles have been reversed, Khaldor. Unfortunately, it seems like JYP goes for the White Ra Special Tactics Award now if he's going to be going for Colossus drops, and he's still looking to threaten to pressure with it.
White Ra is about to finish his speed for the War Prism as well, by the way. Where is his War Prism? Ah, at the top.
Yeah, it's up enough. I think the great thing for JYP right now is he is still he is ahead in the Colossus deck, and indeed looks like we have a bit of a warp in at the main.
Yeah, he warped in a couple of Zealots with his one Warp Prism, and there's still the Colossus, so he wants to attack at the front. Wow, White Ra spots it. Is he able to take down his opponent? Is he able to take down the Warp Prism? Just focus the Warp Prism, that would be huge, but he does not, and now he drops the Colossus once again at the same time. JYP is trying to get up this ramp. White Ra is in position though with the rest of his army, but in the main base, it's still a problem for him to deal with, and the Warp Prism trying to drop the Colossus into the mineral line. Once again, how many units is he actually able to take down? But White Ra engaging the army of JYP. Oh, Calaris, I don't know what's happening now.
I think White Ra kind of needs to be able to put on this pressure at the force of JYP in order to be able to really kind of push it back. JYP look to threaten